I'm Martin Wittfooth. This is my third show with Helford Gallery called Domestic Katabasis. Katabasis is, I believe, an ancient Greek term that suggests a descent of some kind. So there's many archetypal stories of hero's journey or any journey of any kind in mythology that often features the Katabasis. It's where we basically hit rock bottom, or the hero reaches rock bottom. Often in those stories there's no return from it. It's kind of like the end, the great descent, right? But there's also the twist in a lot of those stories. It's where the person or persons enduring the Katabasis are able to confront the challenges and then overcome them. The human story is seen often as having a kind of upward momentum in terms of its progress. I wanted to play off of maybe there's actually the opposite going on, that seen from a different perspective, that progress is actually a deeper and deeper valley that we're finding ourselves in. I do want to speak to it as being something that, the Katabasis idea isn't some other thing. It's not a far off idea, but instead it's here with us now, domestic being home. The animal figures that are familiar to us because they're tied up with the human story. They're domesticated animals. What's happening within the paintings themselves, all of the paintings are suggesting topics that are current to the situation we find ourselves in today. So this painting, I titled it A Charade of Dunces. What I wanted to pick up from that is, first of all, a charade is a show that's being put on. It's the delusion in a sense. It's like you're putting on a show of something grand when what's actually going on is a parody in a sense. A dunce is someone who's slow at learning. It's in a way the mischievous one, but not the clever mischievous one. I just thought, when I think of the kind of political climate and the kind of stuff that we're struggling with domestically. So what I wanted to play off of here is this idea that how we have the structure is still the same as it's pretty much always been, with a kind of top-down dynamic of the distribution of power and wealth and that kind of thing. So what I wanted to play off also is the proverb of the high horse, that the leaders of the country and or the purported leaders of the country lead the world from high horses but don't actually have any direction as to where they're going. And with the cabal of these baboons that are sitting on this horse, what I wanted to play off of there, that it's just this ridiculous mess clearly parading through this landscape, but there simply isn't any clear leadership directive there, and it's all supposed to be ridiculous. So the entirety of the show, what I wanted to do was have each painting feature what we know to be domesticated animals. Animals that are familiar to us in that our species and these species have overlapped, in that we've created a kind of symbiosis with them. So in this painting, clearly it's having the bull and the dogs be the main players in it. I wanted to play off this idea of it kind of being a metaphor for how we ourselves domesticate ourselves to think of one another or the other as something to be dominated or taken control over, as a kind of target of our conquest. So with that in mind, I also had the flags that evoke this sense of the bullfight, that it's the two adversaries pitted against each other, but in the archetype of they're always the battle. But I wanted to pick up on colors in the flags that we're familiar with when it comes to country flags that have often been part of conquests. So you think of Great Britain or France or the United States, it's the red, white, and blue, but put together they kind of create the package that we think of as like the imperial notions of conquest. What I wanted to do with this series was to play off this idea of, to bring up domesticated animals. Well, what domesticated animals are we most familiar with is our pets. Dogs and cats being great examples of where we as humans, our interaction with nature is to bring it into our lives via a kind of filter that's still very much a human filter. So with all the small pieces, what I wanted to do is have wallpaper behind the pet portraits, but the wallpaper is all hearkening to natural elements, so it's floral elements. And the figures themselves, they're a reminder of a natural origin. All dogs you'll ever meet, they're descendants of wolves. But meanwhile, we get them in all shapes, sizes, and shaped in a way to fit the human narrative. What I wanted to do is have there be a central piece that is the reminder to the kind of consequence of going too far down that path. So with the Pandora painting, which is what this is called, what we take for granted to be the domestic, cute, acceptable form of this cat, the domesticated cat, with then a wild animal in its clutches. What's spilling out of the bird is all toys, it's all playthings. It's something you'd find at a carnival or at a birthday party.